Hey guys, so this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm obviously not using my Yeti. I'm not using like any form of like headphones or anything like that. I'm just going to be talking to you like one-on-one. Yeah. So this is not a time in my life. Let me see if I can get you away from that light a little bit. Like, sheesh. This is not a time in my life that I'm like particularly proud of. Like, I'm not glamorizing this lifestyle because it wasn't glamorous. It wasn't like, it wasn't fun. It was very like anxiety inducing and very like, just wasn't, it, you just moved, sorry. It just wasn't like, you know, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, so, this went from 2011 to 2012. In 2011, I was really bad in my addiction. If you don't know, I was a heroin addict for a decade. And yeah, it got to the point where I really didn't care about myself. I didn't care about you. I just cared about the drug and what stood in between me and it, period. Like, you were just an obstacle. So anyway, I saw this guy. I didn't meet him. That's not how we first conversed. I was actually walking home, and this guy stopped me, and he was this big, like, muscular dude, but, like, he was short. He was just, like, a little bit taller than me. Like, I could tell he was short sitting in the car, you know what I mean? And, like, he was like, hey, what's up? What's your number? Blah, blah, blah. And, like, at this point, I had what I needed. Like, I was cool. I was going home. Like, and so I was just like, fuck you. Fuck off. Like, get out of my... I think I was trying to, like, make it across the tracks before a train came or something. Like, I was not trying to stop and, like, talk to him. So, like, I was annoyed. And I was just like... hi, like, bye, you know what I mean? Like, I have no time for you. And he got mad, and he was like, fuck you, bitch, I'm gonna be the man down here in a couple months, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, whatever, white boy. Like, I don't care. So I walked home, and I really didn't think, like, I would ever see him again. Like, I didn't really care to. It was just, like, one of those moments, you know what I mean? It happened. So a couple weeks go by, and I am walking home again, and at this point, again, when I'm walking home, like, I'm done for the day, like, and, like, I have all of my stuff that I need, all the money that I need, all the dope that I need, like, I'm good. So I'm walking home, and, like, I see him go by, and, like, he's with someone that I recognize, and, like, they wave at me. And honestly, just because I wanted a ride, I was like, hey, come back. So he comes back and picks me up. And I'm like, can you take me home? And he's like, there's no seats in the car. You're going to have to ride on my lap. He was just kidding. Like, there was a big back seat. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, and so I got in the back seat. And he took me to my house, and I had him drop me off like up the street because I didn't want him to know where I lived. And the dude that was with him was like, so what are you into? Like, and I knew he was asking, like, what kind of drugs do you do? Like, and I was like, boy, because at this time, like, it wasn't really called dog food. Like, at this time it was still just boy. And I was like, boy. And he's like, what a coincidence. He was like, he sells boy. And, like, dude was like, oh my gosh, my old track marks look so bad in this light. Anyways, he was like, dude, like, what the fuck? And dude's like, you told me to get you more clientele. Like, here you go. And I was like, whatever. Like, and he's like, here, I'm going to give you my number. And I was like, cool, whatever. So he gives me his number. I never call him. Like, I don't care. Like, I had like a decent connect at the time, and like I wasn't interested. So a little bit of time goes by, and one day a car pulls up, and a girl that I recognize, that I know well, was driving, and dude that I'm talking about, we'll call him Flex because that was his street name, and I'm 100% sure that he named himself that because he had just gotten out, and like he had been away for years, and he wasn't even from that area, so like no one knew him enough to give him a name, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. So anyway, they pull up, and she's like, hey, like, do you have any money? This dude's got some really good shit. And I was like, got like $20 on me, which was a lie, but I really didn't want to buy from this dude. Like, I don't know him, you know what I mean? Like, and at the time I was using intravenously, so I couldn't just like I could smell it and stuff like that, but I couldn't like test it without, in my opinion, wasting too much whatever. So, and I smelled it. It was legit. Like, I was like, okay. I was like, well, can you guys take me home again? So they gave me a ride home, and when I got home, I did it. Like, I went in my bathroom and I, used. And it was really good. And I was like, I might start calling this dude. So I called my baby's dad, and I was like, listen, I just found this new Connect. Like, and he was like, we have a good, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. This shit's like on another level. I was like, it's more expensive because it was, but like, that's neither here nor there. And he was like, okay, cool. So I started buying off him. That's how all of this started. And then, I can't remember why, but my baby's dad moved up north and got clean. I mean, he still used like on the weekends when he was in town, but like he stopped using every day. I can't remember what the catalyst of that was, like of him moving. I can't remember. But anyway, he did. And so I was in town, like, I think I went to jail. I'm not sure. But he moved. He would do that a lot. Like, if I got locked up, he would go somewhere with, like, his brothers or whatever. Like, he would get clean. Because he really couldn't support the habit that I did. So, he would leave. So, anyway, he was gone, and I was kind of by myself. And to be honest with you, it was scary because it was the first time, like, in my addiction anyway, that I had been like alone, and because I had always had him by my side. This was like after, I don't know, 5 years together, 6 years together, like I had always had him by my side from like day one. So yeah, I was by myself, and I started seeing this guy more and more because I was buying off of him. And I could tell he liked me, but it wasn't really important to me. But like, he would call me in the morning, like if he was going out of town or something, and be like, hey, I'm leaving, I'm gonna bring you something so you'll be okay today. And like, even if I don't have any money, like he would just like give me something so I would be straight. And I was like, oh my god, this dude wants the business, you know what I mean? But I just wasn't interested. So then one night, something that was completely unrelated happened, and I was with someone completely different. And I was staying in a hotel with this person. And then I found out that this person that I was in the hotel room with had shot someone the day before. And the reason we were in this hotel is because they were looking for him. He didn't tell me this, nothing about this. So I'm like, oh my god, I need to get out of here. So I'm like, you know what? My dealer is right up the road at this other hotel, because his hotel was like literally within walking distance of where I was. And I was like, I'm gonna walk up here and get something, like, I'll be back. And dude was like, okay. So I leave and I get there and I'm like, listen, I need to go home. Like, I'm with this guy and I just, like, I don't feel safe. Like, I don't want to stay there. Like, I want to go home. He was like, what did this guy do? And I'm like, it's not important. I just want to go home. So he's like, you can sit here for a little bit if you want. Like, I'll get you right. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I sit there. Like, I do a shot. And, like, his stuff was so good. It was so good, you guys. Like, I preferred his stuff over, like, anyone else's. So we're sitting there. He's like, are you hungry? And I was like, yeah. So we walked to KFC, which is also within walking distance of where we were staying. Both of us, like, the other dude and me and Flex at this point. And so we walked to KFC, and, like, I see this dude walking up, and I'm like, oh my god. And it was the guy that I was staying with in the other hotel room, and I was like, oh my god. So we get to KFC, and, like, we walk in, and dude comes in, he's like, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, yeah. And I walk out, he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm getting something to eat real quick, like, I haven't had anything to eat, I'm hungry. And he just, like, swings on me, like, catches me in the jaw and turns around and takes off walking. Like, it happened so quickly that, like, I didn't even have time to react. Like, it didn't knock me down or anything. He doesn't, like, hit hard. It was just really quick. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? So, yeah, I was, like, super panicked, and I turned around and I walked back into KFC, and at this point, like, tears are just starting to flow. Like, I'm not trying to let a dude that just hit me see me cry, so I just turn around and walk away, and, like, I walk in, and dude's like, did he just swing on you? And I was like, and, like, so he walks outside, and, like, he starts walking down the street, and at this point, the other dude is, like, running because he knows I'm with another guy, and he's not trying to fight him. So he comes back in, he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. So we sit there and eat, and he's like, listen, you can stay at my room if you want, like, it's no big deal. And I was like, okay. So I was really vulnerable at this point, I think, like, because for one reason, like, my baby's dad was gone. It was the first time I was really, like, by myself, but then, like, at the same time, like, this kind of, like, traumatic thing just happened, and, like, he was kind of playing, I don't know, you know what I mean? He was kind of, like, taking care of me, I felt, at this point. So I go back to the hotel room with him, and it wasn't, like, an hour, and, like, he tried to kiss me, but, like, at this point, like, I'm kind of attracted to him because he just, like, I don't know, he's very charismatic, and, like, he's a good guy, like, he really is, but he just has, like, he has some issues, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, as do we all, but, oh my gosh, my counter is a mess back there, all my makeup's laying out, but whatever. So, yeah, like, it was just one of those things, like, I didn't mean for it to happen, like, I never wanted it to happen, but it just kind of did. So, like, we ended up hanging out that night. Like, we didn't have sex or anything the first night, but, like, we slept in the same bed. I don't know. So the next morning, he gives me something to do, like, a decent amount, and I was like, thanks. And, like, he just, you know, was like, here. He was like, I'm gonna take you to your mom's. I've got some stuff to do today. He's like, do you want me to come back and get you tonight? And I was like, yes. He's like, okay. After that, we were together every day. It went from, like, he would still do, like, his trips and stuff by himself, but, like, then I started going with him, but, like, he wouldn't, like, give me the stuff. Like, he would just, like, hide it somewhere, like, on the vehicle or whatever. But then it got to the point where, like, he introduced me to his people, and, I mean, they've all paid their debt to society. They've all, like, are either in prison or have been to prison for this, so, like, he introduced me to his dude. His dude, like, kind of liked me, and, I mean, whatever. So, then that started me, like, stuffing the stuff, like, putting it inside me when we were coming down. And it was, like, an ounce at a time. Like, I don't know if I should say that or not, but, and that's not really like, it doesn't sound like that much, but like it was like, it was a good amount, and it was a really, really uncomfortable and like really hard to do, and it was like a 2.5, 3 hour drive. So, and this was 2 to 3 times a week, every week. This goes on for months. He gives me something every morning and every evening, and because I'm an addict and I'm sneaky and I'm conniving, whatever, I still find ways to get money in between and buy more dope. Like, because that's what addicts do. Like, my habit was increasing and he was still giving me the same amount as he was when we first got together, and my tolerance just wasn't the same, like, whatever. So I wanted more and more and more, as addicts do. And so and he would catch me all the time and get so mad, like, because when I would buy, this is how like much I wanted his stuff. When I would buy, I would go to his people that sold for him because I wanted his stuff, and like I would even like give her extra to like not tell him. So it just kind of like turned me into a drug dealer, because like I would meet people, I would do like the hand-to-hands, like whatever. And I really, oh God, that was uncomfortable, because you never know about people, like, especially in like the town that I'm from. Like, I mean, you never know about people anywhere, but like the town that I'm from, like, people tell on each other all the time. Like, it's so common. Like, the town's called Portsmouth, and like it's called Portsmouth for a reason. Like, people call it that all the time because people cannot mind their own business. So anyways, a few months goes by and like we're doing this 2 to 3 times a week. He has this business, I'm not going to say what it is or anything like that, but he has this business that is legit. And what he does is he hires drug addicts because he pays them in drugs. So he has this business and he needs certain licenses for this business to be legit. So one day he calls me and he's like, listen, I have some stuff. I need to drop it off. I need to get up the highway and get to the city to fill these papers out. And I was like, listen, my dad's here. I'm in the shower. Like, you're just going to have to wait a minute. And he's like, listen, I've got to go. This place closes at da-da-da-da-da. He was like, I'm just going to take it to so-and-so's house, which is the girl that sold for him. And I was like, okay, cool. Can I come by there and get something later? And he was like, yeah, whatever. So I guess he goes to her house, and there was like a cop in the parking lot, because it was like, she lived in an apartment building and it was like a really ghetto apartment building, so it wasn't like that weird for there to be cops there. But he was spooked, didn't want to go there, so he leaves. He just takes the stuff with him. This is where he fucks up. So he leaves. He gets to the city and he gets pulled over in the city. They don't find anything on him but money, but cash, and a good deal of it. And he called me and he's like, look, I just got pulled over. This and this happened. They found this, but they couldn't prove anything. I showed them what I was up here doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, listen. You are from down south. They just caught you in the city with money. They think you are there to re-up, to get more drugs. And he was like, you're probably right. Like, I'll just get a hotel room and I'll stay up here for the night. And like, that way if anything goes down, like, I'll have my stuff put up, like nothing can happen. And I was like, cool, like, do that. So he gets a hotel room and he's there for a couple hours. And the girl that sells for him is calling him, freaking out because she doesn't have anything because he didn't go there earlier. She's sick. People are calling her wanting stuff, like, and she has nothing to sell. She's like, we're losing so much money, da-da-da-da-da. Gets in his ear, and he gets back on the goddamn highway and starts coming down the highway. Well, there are two areas when you're coming back from the city that you want to watch out for. There are two areas that, like, if you get pulled over, it's bad. And those areas are South Bloomfield and Lucasville. If you make it through those two areas, then, like, you're almost home free. So he made it through South Bloomfield, blah, blah, blah. He gets down to Lucasville, and a state boy starts following him. And he calls me, and he's like, listen, they're following me. I think they're going to pull me over, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm about to break my my SIM card. I'm about to, like, break my phone so they can't find out, you know, whatever. He's like, I will call you as soon as I can. Like, don't freak out. And I was like, okay. What can I do at this point? And then, excuse me, after being on the phone for like 10 minutes, he was like, okay, he was lighting me up right now. Like, I'll call you when I can. And I was like, okay. So hours go by. Hours. And, nothing. I convinced my mom or my dad to take me to where he got pulled over at. And I'm like, listen, I've got to see, like, if the car is there, like, what happened, like. So we go there, and the car is on the side of the highway. And my mom's like, yeah, he's in jail. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So then after that, my phone rings. It's him and booking, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was just, it was traumatic. He only ended up getting like 18 months out of that because it was a very, someone snitched on him, someone told on him, he thinks it was his ex. I just happened to not be with him that time. Like, that's like the only time that I was not with him. Oh my gosh, like, that was like a bullet this big that I somehow, like, dodged. I have no idea. But yeah, he got like 18 months out of that, and then, like, when he got out, he moved to the city, and he ended up catching a Fed case, and getting like a really long time, which is where he's at right now. He's in federal prison right now for drug dealing, basically drug charges, like a ton of drug charges. But yeah, that's my story with that's my story of how I went from addict to mule, and how I am just like, I just really got lucky that time. There was nothing stopping me from getting in trouble for that. I was not smart about it. I was not slick about it. I was not, yeah, and I just really got lucky that I didn't get in trouble. So yeah, that's it. So this is going to be the first of like a series, I think, of videos of like war stories, and hopefully you guys like these because I have a ton of stories like this. And, you know, I'm not trying to like glamorize this lifestyle at all because it was terrible. There were good parts, but there were a lot more negative parts. And, but it is my story and it's what happened. So, you know, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. So that's what happened. So hopefully, you guys will like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel a little bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.